Hey everybody, I'm going to do a presentation that you can actually read on the difference between lawful versus legal. I've added some things. I've included some claim forms um, that I filed against a police officer. This is all public information, so I'm not revealing anything, and I'm going to use this before a jury in February. So please like, share, and comment on what you think. Might need some changes. So you have God, the Creator, is at the top of the pyramid, and He created man and woman. Man and woman created government. Government created the legal society. The legal society created codes, acts, and statutes. There are only two laws: do no harm and do not trespass. These are natural laws that are universal. So who is above everything? Man and woman. There is no state of Alabama. There is no city of, county of. They are fictions. Is the state of Alabama, city, or municipality going to testify against you? No, only the man or woman who represents the state, city, county, or municipality. Now, according to the Code of Alabama, Section 11.1.2, county is declared a body corporate. Every county is a body corporate, i.e., a corporation. Section 1140-1, Code of Alabama. Municipalities declared bodies, politics, and corporate, i.e., a corporation. So, right there in their own laws, the counties and municipalities are all corporations. So, the reality is that you are a man or woman. The title that they try to give you is a fiction: plaintiff, defendant, judge, police officer, prosecutor, John T. Long in all capital letters. Those are titles. The reality is that my name is John T. Long, spelled, like it's supposed to, not in all capital letters. There are only men and women who sometimes acts as a judge, police officer, prosecutor, etc. They are employees of the corporation. Here's a difference between a complaint and a claim. A complaint is a legal society creation. A police officer files a complaint stating that you violated a code, act, or statute. No harm done. A claim is a constitutional creation. A man or woman files a claim for damages for injury and harm done to their lands, goods, person, or reputation. Trespass on land, theft, or damage of goods, property, your property, it's your money. Injury or harm done to person or reputation, murder, rape, um, that sort of thing. So we've got to look at definitions. Inalienable rights, rights that are God given, that are not transferable or cannot be taken away. You're born with inalienable rights. Liberty, the state of being free within a society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. Injury, harm, damage, or loss sustained. Person, a man, woman, or child. These are all definitions taken out of the dictionary. Lawful, facts and evidence. Legal, codes, acts, and statutes, assumptions, theories, and opinions. Trespass, commit an offense against a person or property. Now, this is the Constitution of Alabama. We, the people of the state of Alabama, in order to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, invoking the favor and guidance of Almighty God. There's your separation of church and state. Do ordain and establish the following constitution and form of government for this state of Alabama. So the Constitution of Alabama does not give you rights. It sets up the form of government on what they can and cannot do. Article 1, Declaration of Rights, that the great general and essential principles of liberty, we define liberty, and free government may be recognized and established, we declare, one, that all men are equally free and independent, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So you are born with these rights that cannot be taken away or given. You're born with them. And those rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 2, that all political power is inherent in the people and that all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. So the political power is inherent in the people, and that therefore they have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to change their form of government in such manner as they deem expedient. And that's kind of what I'm doing here is I'm showing you, the people, that you have the power, not the government. And that no person shall be barred from prosecuting or defending before any tribunal, which is court, in this state by himself or counsel in any civil cause to which he is a party. 11, that the right of trial by jury shall remain inviolate. That means not harmed or changed. So they can't tell you you can't have a trial by jury. These are the government's rules that they have to abide by. 13. Now this is the kicker, as I call it, that all courts shall be open, and that every person for any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. So the courts were created for every person, man and woman, for any injury done him or her in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. And that they can't, that says without sale, denial, or delay. So they can't charge you for using the courts. They're public property. The judges and clerks, everybody that works in the courthouse are public servants. They cannot charge you for filing a claim against someone who has harmed you in your lands, goods, person, or reputation. They can't deny you or delay it. So if they do, they themselves, the person, the man or woman who is trying to charge you or deny you or delay you, is injuring you in your goods and person or reputation or lands. Somebody trespasses on your land, you file a claim against them. 35, that the sole and only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. So this is the only legitimate end of government, is to protect the citizen, the man or woman, in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. And when the government assumes other functions, it is usurpation and oppression. Usurpation is defined as taking someone's power or property by force. What do you think the government's doing? Both of those. 36. That this enumeration of certain rights shall not impair or deny others retained by the people, and to guard against any encroachments on the rights herein retained, we declare that everything in this Declaration of Rights is accepted out of the general powers of government. So right there, it's telling you this is the general powers of government on what they can and can't do, and shall remain forever inviolate, which means they can't change the Constitution. The legal society cannot break the law to enforce a legal act, code, or statute. The law, according to the Constitution of Alabama, is any injury done him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation, period. The state, county, or municipality was not harmed. You can't harm a fiction, a corporation. In fact, the harm done was by the man who sometimes acts as police officer, who is an employee of the corporation. He has no authority unless he is injured in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. There was no crime, only a violation of a legal act, code, or statute which the man or woman never consented to. Remember that people are the source of power. The man or woman who sometimes acts as a police officer caused injury or harm to the person they arrested by assault and battery, which is defined as an unwanted touching. You didn't give them consent to touch you or put handcuffs on you. Barratry, which is using the court system for profit. Unlawful detainment, which is detaining someone against their will. And extortion, which is obtaining money through force or intimidation. When the man who sometimes acts as police officer pulls you over for a speeding ticket and walks you, or speeding, and walks up to your car in battle fatigue, do you not think that's intimidation? Yeah, it is. The county and municipal court systems are a for-profit corporation as defined by their own rules. A corporation has no power over you, nor do their employees. That's slavery. The employees of the city, state, and county corporations complaining of a violation of a legal code, act, or statute under color of law, which is defined when someone acts to deprive a person of a right protected under the Constitution, i.e., life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Without any authority, consent, or debt, the corporation has conspired to commit fraud, which is defined as representing a fact that is relied on and causes injury or harm. So the color of law is they give you the illusion that they have some kind of power over you, and you rely on it, and you're harmed. They take your money, or they put handcuffs on you, or put you in jail. So a fact that is relied on and causes injury against the man or woman and falsely arrested him or her, imprisoned him or her, causing damages to her person, property, reputation, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, all in violation of the Constitution of Alabama 1901. Furthermore, the man or woman who sometimes acts as a police officer, judge, prosecutor, and attorney takes an oath of office as a public servant, which is sworn to under oath as follows. I took this oath of office as well. Is I solemnly swear or affirm, as the case may be, that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Alabama, so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. So help me God. There's your separation of church and state again, which is a joke. Everything is spiritual. Everything, not religious. It's spiritual. There is nothing in the Constitution of Alabama regarding these administrative proceedings. So what the courts are doing is they have administrative proceedings to take your money, basically. This is not a constitutional court, as they are set up for the people to have a remedy for injury to their lands, goods, person, or reputation. The police officers, judges, prosecutors violate their oath of office when acting outside the scope of the Constitution. Period. They took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution, and they're not upholding shit. So here's a case that got set for trial in February, and this puts in everything that I filed with the court to dismiss this case for the above reasons I just stated. So comes now the woman, Haley Shea Curvenbine, through her counsel, John T. Long, and moves the prosecutor in this court to dismiss this action for the following reasons. One, this court has no in personam, which means in person, jurisdiction. There was no harm done. So there's nobody there to testify that you harmed them or that my client harmed them. Subject matter jurisdiction, which means they have no jurisdiction. There was no harm done, and fails to state a cause of action against the woman Haley Shea Curvin. Now, you don't want to go into court as a defendant plaintiff because they pretty much do whatever the fuck they want, basically. I'm not going to be using these cuss words in front of a jury, but this is just a post on YouTube. So this court has no authority over the woman Haley Shea Curvin, as no harm was done to another person in their lands, goods, person, or reputation. The authority given to the courts comes from the person harmed, not the corporation or agents of the corporation. Remember, there's no harm done to a corporation. Courts to be open, remedy for all injuries, impartiality of justice. That all courts shall be open, and that every person for any injury done him and his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. Constitution of Alabama, 1901. The legal society cannot break the law to enforce a legal act, code, or statute. The woman, Haley Shea Curvin, does not consent nor contract to these proceedings, and neither the city of Anniston, state of Alabama, nor the county of Calhoun or its agents can be a complainant. Complainant, I think I left out a T, as no injury was done to the corporation, its lands, goods, person, or reputation. Therefore, there is no standing to invoke the court's in personam jurisdiction, subject matter jurisdiction, and violation of a code, act, or statute is not a cause of action. The woman, Haley Shea Curvin, was neither an agent nor employee of the city, state, or county. The way they get you is they make you an employee of the city, state, or county by giving your driver's license. And if you look at your driver's license, it's in all capital letters. So like I explained earlier, they made you a corporation, not only when you with your driver's license, but also your birth certificate. When your mama sent your birth certificate into the state, they sent it back in all capital letters. It was at that time you became an employee of the corporation. And then, if you don't give your consent, if you go to court and they call out, your name and you answer, what they're doing is they're calling out the corporate name. So, you have to be careful going to court. You have to stand up as a man or woman and say, I am the man or woman, Haley Shea Curvin, and I do not consent to these administrative proceedings, and I do not contract to these proceedings. And there it is right there. People's source of power, that all political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. So therefore they have at all times an inalienable and indefeasible right to change their form of government in such a manner as they deem expedient. And that's what I'm doing here. You go up and you object and you change the judges or get them off the bench. And me and a friend of mine's working on on their bond because their bond, all the judges are bonded. They have surety bond. They have a performance bond, and we're trying to get the information on filing against their bond since they're violating their oath of office, and they're also committing conspiracy because they all know what they're doing. It's unlawful. An agent of the Anniston Police Department, specifically the man Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as a police officer, has no standing nor any authority to arrest the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, and did trespass against her by way of assault and battery. They arrested my client and alleged that she was drinking and driving, which she was not. So they put handcuffs on her, put her in jail, put her in the back of the police car without her permission. So that's assault and battery, unlawful detainment, and intimidation, and threatened her with violence, extortion, and barratry is exactly what they did. And the man, Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as police officer, was not harmed in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. Goes back to the main object, Section 13 of the Constitution of Alabama. And the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, being an honorable woman, has sent notices to the man, Justin Hayes, to provide remedy for any harm done to end this controversy, and to date has received no reply. I'll get to the exhibits in a minute. So there is no controversy here. The courts thrive on controversy, arguments, theories, opinions. No real facts or evidence. It's all theory. The only function of government is to protect the citizen in his enjoyment of life, liberty, and property, and any other function is illegal and subject to liability. That's in the Constitution, Section 35. Objective of government, that the sole object and only legitimate end of government is to protect the citizen in the enjoyment of life, liberty, and property. And when the government assumes other functions, it is usurpation and oppression. And I went over that earlier. That the employees of the city, state, and county corporations complaining of a violation of a legal act, code, act, or statute, and under color of law and without any authority, consent, or debt, have conspired to commit fraud against the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, and falsely arrested her, imprisoned her, causing damages to her person, reputation, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness in violation of the Constitution of Alabama, 1901. So here I'm telling the court and all their employees, the prosecutor, the judge, the police officer, all of them, that this is the notice that I gave them, that they need to dismiss this because it's illegal and unconstitutional. Of course, they didn't even do anything. They just, you'll see later on, they just denied it. The judge just denied it. No hearing, no nothing. It was unopposed. The prosecutor didn't even file an opposition to this motion, which if there's no opposition filed, then they have to take this motion as being true. They couldn't file an opposition because there's no opposition to it. Moreover, the woman, Tina E. Roberts, who sometimes acts as prosecutor, and the man, Bud Turner, who sometimes acts as judge, took an oath of office, sworn under oath that they will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Alabama, and that they would faithfully and honestly discharge the duties of the office which we went over what the duties of the government office is. And this is an administrative function and not a constitutional court, as there was no harm or injury to the state of Alabama, city of Anniston, or county of Calhoun, goods, lands, person, or reputation. And then I just quote what I went over before that, these are the general powers of government and shall remain inviolate, which means unchangeable. They don't care about that. And that the circumstances surrounding the arrest, subsequent incarceration, and unlawful proceedings violates the function and powers of government under the Constitution of Alabama 1901. So I'm telling them what they're doing is unlawful and it violates the functions and powers of government. Haley Shea Curvin requests that the woman, Tina Roberts, who sometimes acts as prosecutor, and this court dismiss this unlawful complaint and that all false claims be dropped as they are usurpation and oppression. Any further attempt to restrict or force the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, in her enjoyment of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness by the woman, Tina E. Roberts, who sometimes acts as prosecutor, or any other man or woman, will be seen as a trespass, harm, and injury by way of battery, threat of detainment, intimidation, threat of violence, extortion, conspiracy, and fraud. So I'm telling them that, any further attempt, I mean, she has to go to court numerous times, miss time from work. They're threatening to fine her, to put her in jail, all this crap. So I'm telling them if they continue this, then we're going to file a claim against them for that harm and injury. There I say it. Otherwise, a claim will be pressed against any man or woman for trespass by way of fraud. Remember, fraud. They represent that they got some kind of authority over you. You rely on it, and you're caused damages. Conspiracy. They're all in it together. The judge, the prosecutor, the police officer. RICO, which is a federal racketeering Racketeering, Influence, and Corrupt Organization Act. Malicious prosecution, false arrest, threat of unlawful detainment, assault and battery, extortion, and other unlawful actions which may or may not be apparent at this time, all in violation of the function of the government under the Constitution of Alabama 1901. If this trespass continues, we will press a claim before a trial by jury and seek compensation in the amount of $100,000 plus $1 per minute for trespass and harm or injury by way of battery, unlawful detainment, intimidation, threat of violence, fraud, conspiracy, and attempted extortion. So right there, I'm putting them on notice that if they continue this unlawful action, then we're going to press a claim against them, and I'm going to present this to a jury. We're going to try them all at the same time. There I say it. And the alternative, since all parties will be present on the day that the legal case is set at the convenience of the court, all claims for trespass and unlawful actions above shall be heard on the same day and same time to be considered and explained before the jury to render a verdict on all claims under the law and not some legal act, code, or statute. And then I asked the court to dismiss this unlawful complaint, or in the alternative, order the clerk to send summons to Justin Hayes and record the attached notice for requirement of court and clerk Claims Court for trespass and remedy, notice of trespass with statements of claim and rules of the Haley Shea Curvin Court. The courts are your courts, so you go in and you take control of these courts. You give them your laws, what they can and can't do. They're public buildings for our use. Then I requested that they hear this, you know, with me there in person. So the motion was unopposed, which means the prosecutor didn't file any opposition to my motion, and the judge held no hearing, did not give me an opportunity to present this evidence. So this motion was unopposed by the prosecutor, and there was no oral argument or hearing as requested, which is required by their own rules. They're required when you file a motion and ask for an oral argument, they're required by law to give you that oral argument. But the judge just denied it, no explanation, supporting law or conclusions of law, which is also required. Moreover, no notice to the clerk to send a summons to Justin Hayes. This is all a part of the record and will be admitted into evidence. So I'm going to tell the jury all this. Now, these are the notices that are attached, and can't read them very well. But, I sent the police officer by certified mail a notice to, I'll just read it to you. Greetings to the man Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as a police officer. I, the woman Haley Shea Curvin, claim that you, the man Justin Hayes, did trespass by way of harm to I. And you word it real simple, you kind of nice, I state that on August 11th, 2022, you, the man Justin Hayes, did cause harm to I by way of unlawful detainment, which he arrested her, put her in handcuffs, put her in the car, intimidated her, threatened her. I mean, he's wearing a gun. I mean, that's a threat. Threat of extortion, because you know what's coming is they're going to fine you, and barratry by way of facts and evidence. And the barratry is using the court system for profit. It's not what it was set up for. I state, is it your intent to trespass on I by the use of administrative procedure against a man with no breach of contract, wrong, injury, harm, or debt in your lands, goods, person, or reputation to you, the man Justin Hayes. So I'm telling him that he had no harm according to the Constitution in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. So I'm asking him, I believe I caused no harm or trespass to you, but as an honorable woman, if a debt or harm by way of trespass does exist, I'm willing to make restitution for any harm, trespass, or debt that I owe to you. So she's coming clean and saying, look, if I harmed you as an honorable woman, I'll give you remedy. And then I ask that you provide such evidence by way of facts, not some legal act, code, or statute of the harm or trespass that I caused you within 7 days of receipt of this letter. I state all herein be true and will verify in open court before a trial by jury. You give thanks and, kind regards and be nice. Then I sent him a second notice basically stating the same thing. Third notice, same thing. Still hadn't heard from him to this date. And so the fourth letter is the notice that since he didn't respond to my first three letters, then apparently, I didn't harm him in his lands, goods, person, or reputation. So I'm giving him notice that I say I have not received remedy, therefore I have invited you to a court of law in order for you to testify as to how this is not a trespass by way of debt, assault and battery, unlawful detainment, intimidation, threat of violence, extortion, and battery. So I'm telling him, since he didn't respond, then I'm claiming that he harmed me by those things I just said. And I say that you provided no evidence by way of facts and evidence that I caused injury, harm, or loss to your land, goods, person, or reputation, nor have you provided remedy. So I say, if you do not have a lawful excuse as to why this is not a trespass, then I will press the claim before a judge or jury and require the court to sign an order for said damages in the amount of $5,000 plus fees for counsel cost and $100 per day until remedy is provided. That was 2 year. It was almost a year ago. Still haven't heard from him. So this was all attached to the motion. So I'm writing to the clerk. I asked the judge to give this to the clerk, but apparently he did not. So greetings to the woman, Kim McCarson, who at times acts as clerk of the court. I hope you are well. You word these things, you want to be nice. I, a man, John T. Long, say it comes a time for those of mankind to come forward in a society to prevent trespass on the rights of men and women, to come forward as counsel for the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, who is in honor to seek remedy by opening a case granted under Section 13 of the Constitution of Alabama, 1901, which states that all courts shall be open and every person for injury done him and his lands, goods, person, or reputation shall have a remedy by due process of law, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. Yeah, they want to charge like $400 for filing a claim with a jury trial. I mean, not many people can afford that. And that's why the Constitution says shall be administered without sale, denial, or delay. I seek to open a case to press a claim for remedy and compensation between a woman and those of mankind who I believe have committed trespass to Haley Shea Curvin. I say after attempts to keep this private, to date no remedy has been provided. Instead, more trespass has occurred and led me to require a court of record to press claims of trespass, injury, and harm before a trial by jury and before a man or woman who is competent in property and trespass law, there to keep the peace and put forth orders of the Haley Shea Curvin Court. It's her court. It's not the state's court. They're public servants. It's a public building. We pay taxes. We pay their salary. I wish to press this claim on those I believe have committed trespass, harm, and injury against the woman Haley Shea Curvin, whom I have given notice of this trespass with no remedy given. So there I'm telling, and I attached all my notices with no response from the police, from the man who sometimes acts as police officer. I know that there are many courts that operate on legal codes, acts, and statutes made up by the legal society, but none operate under law. So I'm telling them that they're made up by the legal society. To be clear, the woman, Haley Shea Curvin, will not be appearing as any title, but as a woman with her counsel, John T. Long, to press claims and require room to move this case through the court and choose to be present along with counsel to present this in a court of record before a trial by jury under oath there to testify with facts and present evidence to support claims of trespass, injury, and harm since the date of August 11th, 2022, which is the date she was arrested. I require that Haley Shea Curvin remain that of a woman who claims trespass, injury, and harm, and any changes to this will be seen as a trespass on her, and we will seek compensation of $100,000 plus $1 per minute as each trespass continues in violation of Haley Shea Curvin's right to a trial by jury under the Constitution of Alabama and the U.S. Constitution. That said, we do not need any legal forms. This is a claim, not a complaint, and we respectfully request that you, Kim McCarson, act as a clerk of the court. We require that you put forth a man who is well versed in the law and summon a venire of men and women so that we may choose a jury of 12 men and women to present facts and evidence to. We further require that you file this case with an action number and time stamp the original and proper copies to serve. We require that you send summons to the man, Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as a police officer. We will be happy to pay for any cost of copying, postage. However, Section 13 cited above is without sale, denial, or delay. I say it is not our wish to be charged for services. I believe this is a public court paid for by taxes of mankind for the use and benefit thereof to testify under oath with other men and women who did witness the facts and to restore property and seek compensation for harm or injury done by way of trespass without a fee. We believe that this public court was set up by the Constitution of Alabama for the use and benefit of every person for any injury done him and his lands, goods, person, or reputation. Section 2, all political power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their benefit. We call upon the men and women who sometimes act as officers of the court to perform their duties with honor and without sale, denial, or delay. I verify herein all I say be true. Sign. This is my claim, which I attach, my notices that I sent to the police officer. Notice of trespass with statements of claim attached. This is a Haley Shea Curvin court of the Court of Calhoun County, Alabama, to proceed under oath to testify between I, the woman Haley Shea Curvin, who claims trespass against her by Justin Hayes. I, a woman, Haley Shea Curvin, claim the man, Justin Hayes, did trespass against my person and my property by way of injury and harm to I by assault and battery, unlawful detainment, intimidation, threat of harm, extortion, and battery without any right or consent, and under color of law, and injured I from the enjoyment of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Proof of all, I claim I had a vested interest in said property. I claim the said trespass began on August 11th of 2023 and continues to this day. I claim I sent notices of said trespass with no reply and a notice to dismiss with no opposition and a denial of said claims of which are attached. I will present said trespass by way of recording, testimony, and exhibits. I claim that the man, Justin Hayes, who sometimes acts as police officer, did assault and batter with a deadly weapon, because he had a gun, unlawfully detained I, intimidated I, threatened harm, extorted I, because you got to do the bond, you got to get your car out. I mean, it's all about the money. Without any right or consent and under color of law, and injured I from the enjoyment of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I claim the amount of $10,000 as remedy for harm done to I. And then this is her court, so she has rules, just like the state has their own rules. Number one, I, woman Haley Shea Curvin, will be present to press a claim for trespass, injury, and harm to testify under an oath at the Haley Shea Curvin Court on October 30th of 2023, which that was the original trial date, but it's been moved up to February of 2024 now, in Calhoun County, Alabama. I say all herein is true and will be verified in open court under oath before a trial by jury. I require the man, Bud Turner, who sometimes acts as judge, to give his oath to the following at the Haley Shea Curvin Court. I give oath that I will be true to serve those of mankind in the office of judge, and will do right by all manner of mankind, and uphold the law, there to witness a claim with facts and evidence, not opinions, to support said claim, and to render a verdict without fear, favor, affection, or ill will, so help I God. If you have been charged or have a case before the court, I say since a legal case has been set on October 30th, 2023, with a case number of CC 2022, blah, 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 with a trial by jury, and as all those mentioned above will be present on that day, it is the wish of I, Haley Shea Curvin, to press these claims of trespass on the same day at the same time for the convenience of the court for a trial by jury to render said verdict on the claims of trespass, injury, and harm done to I. That is the true law that was broken, not some legal code, act, or statute that does not apply to I, the woman, Haley Shea Curvin. 4. Require a court of record for the Haley Shea Curvin Court at the Calhoun County Court of Alabama, a public facility with public servants serving the public and not the state. I require every man and woman summoned to give oath to testify to what is true under penalty of perjury. The court will not accept or entertain any titles, legal arguments, case laws, codes, acts, or statutes, opinions, speculation, or theories, as this is a court of law set up under the Constitution of Alabama and the U.S. Constitution. 7. The court will only accept claims with facts and evidence, not opinions or theories, to support any and all claims. This court is to be private. I don't know if that really matters or not, but I've put it in there. I say if the man or woman summoned for trespass does not have a lawful excuse for the trespass or claims to the contrary, and the man or woman acting as judge or the jury has findings of facts and conclusions of law on the record, shall render a verdict in the favor of I, Haley Shea Curvin, whom now presses these claims, then the judgment of the Haley Shea Curvin Court are to be enforced, and judgment presented before said court shall be tendered to the clerk of court, with the judgment binding and bearing the court seal of the Calhoun County, Alabama, upon it, and is to be carried out within 21 days of the verdict. 10. I say if the men or women or clerk of court believes it is not possible to proceed in this lawful manner, then the Haley Shea Curvin Court requires their findings of fact and conclusions of law on the record to prevent an additional trespass on this case, resulting in a claim against them. So I'm saying if they don't do it, I'm going to file a claim against them, the clerk, judge, whoever denies this, because They're violating their own laws.